His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet, is a spiritual and temporal leader of the Tibetan people. Forced to leave his homeland at the age of 24 in 1959, the Dalai Lama is a world spokesman for peace and social justice. He is the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize and author of many books on compassion and happiness. To Tibetan Buddhists, the Dalai Lama is the incarnation of the Buddha of compassion, Jinrezi. Following is a healing address to 10,000 people in Sun Valley, Idaho, on the 4th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks in the United States.
This is okay. It's okay. Oh, I see.
Is this okay?
Okay. Although compare you, I'm shorter, but still not that much shorter, I think. Dear brothers and sisters, I am extremely happy to be here with you. And I think the environment, the scenery, very beautiful, very peaceful. And most important, I think people, a big number of people, big gathering. When my friend asked about compassion, I think everybody hand, you see, go like that. So that means you, some kind of promise, rest of your life will be more compassionate. I think that's wonderful. So once you now determined, rest of your life will be a more compassionate person. So now, since from today, I think you should quarrel less. You should fight less. Of course, occasionally, sometimes, even myself, I always try to sort of say altruism. And not only this life, but I say, till space remain, till sentient beings suffering remain, I will remain in order to serve. This is my sort of determination. But that does not mean I never lose my temper. Occasionally I lose my temper, and sometimes I used to say harsh words. So you also, occasionally, as a human being, some trouble with your neighbor, your friend, come. But basically, basic person should be more compassionate person. So that, firstly, you will be more peaceful person. You become more peaceful person, more calm mind. Result, I think the first benefit, most benefit goes up to yourself. With more calm mind, on the basis of compassion, when you come across disturbances, it won't disturb much. So in deep down, your calm mind always can sustain. As a result, your sleep, less disturbances, your digestion will be more normal. Through that way, days and nights, weeks and months, years, your life becoming more happier. Your health also more better. And then one individual becoming more peaceful, then when we come across some kind of disagreement or conflict, we can easily solve this conflict through human way. Will not be out of control. Although human society, some conflict, some disagreement always happen. Even within oneself, idea which occur in morning and the evening, there will be conflict, contradictory. But all these contradictories as a conflict can solve within, I think, the compassionate atmosphere. So that's actually, I think, the principle of nonviolence. Nonviolence does not mean you are doing nothing or absence from the trouble. No. You should, because you fully engage in the problem, but try to solve the problem within the atmosphere of friendship or compassion. So then, I think meaningful dialogue can take place. So in any way, as a sort of response for, because
this is partly in response to your enthusiastic response to the making the pledge for compassion. So I just wanted to affirm it.
So I would like to make clear, sometimes people get the impression, the idea or concept of compassion, forgiveness, these things are something like religious matter. I think actually not that case. Then secondly, if you practice compassion, it is something good for others, but not necessarily helpful to oneself. I think that also a mistake, as I mentioned earlier. I think most beneficial goes to practitioner himself or herself. That's very clear. According to my own little experience, as my friend, you see, as I mentioned, you see, my life go through a lot of difficulties and painful experiences. But I think, hopefully, my mental state quite peaceful. Although a lot of painful sort of, what's it, news or heartbreaking sort of news or events happen, still, my basic sort of mental attitude still can remain calm. So through my own experience, inner warm-heartedness or compassionate attitude is something truly precious. This precious we cannot buy through supermarket, right? Or this inner precious cannot produce by sophisticated machines or pharmaceutical sort of the medicines. So this must develop within ourselves. And also, the seed of such sort of precious by birth already there. No need effort to acquire from outside, but from birth, we have the seed of this precious, this quality. So pay more attention about our inner value. Your life will be more happier. So, I
noticed that the flag is lowered down today.
Mr. Tonda Yorute, that Terry Nimati Azujikta, Nyang Chansu Chiagi, Nimashati.
So this reminds me that today is a day to commemorate the tragic events.
And in Yajaranta,
and also, we are all aware that recently, United States has also been hit with great tragedy, natural disaster.
So one is man-made tragedy, one by nature. Of course, both cases, I think, tremendous sort of painful experiences. Not only those people who really experienced on the spot, but like myself, who watching television really feel very sad, very sad. So I want to share with you and also those, I think, thousands of people who really suffer directly, and also who lost their friends, their lovers, their relatives. So I would like to share, their sadness. Now, I want to point out three points. Number one, those people who died, who passed away, or who died, or who killed. Now, as a believer, after death, still, whatever you call soul or self, still there, according different sort of tradition. According some sort of tradition, of course, life after life go like that way. But according some tradition, still their soul remain. till, I think, final judgment, like that. So therefore, our prayer, according theistic believer, then to God, to Creator, and according those non-theistic, pray to higher being, like Buddha, Bodhisattvas, but all have sort of same experience to pray. So I think, let us pray together, all those souls. As a Buddhist, I believe their death very tragically. So I think that moment when they are dying or death took place, I think their attitude, I think just simply fear. I think not much negative sort of emotion. So therefore, from the Buddhist viewpoint, I think their transition, I think, may not be bad. So that's one point. And then second, I want to tell those people who are still alive, but a lot of traumatic sort of experiences. Now, of course, the painful experience now already occurred. Some of your close friends now already passed away, already no more. That's very unfortunate, but it is reality, it is fact, it happened. Now, you see, that tragedy, if you think that already happened, so even your much more sort of sadness, much more sort of frustrations will not solve the problem. Already happened. And particularly, you see, too much sorrow, too much anger, too much frustration, you see, will not bring your close friends who passed away, will never return. So the more sadness, more frustration brings more suffering to yourself. And perhaps, I think those, your friends who already passed away, some way, if they knows about your sort of state of mind, too much sadness, too much frustration, and completely lost hope, I think then those spirits, I think, will feel more sad. In spite that unfortunate, now you try to rebuild your home, rebuild your life with self-confidence, with effort. I think those souls may feel happier. Now, in spite of such tragedy, my friend still keep human spirit and trying to rebuild their home, their society, their community with self-confidence, with self-dignity. So therefore, I want, according to my own experience, as my friend mentioned, we lost not only our freedom, but also lost our own country, now last 46 years as a refugee. And meantime, I think worst thing is, from time to time, from news from within Tibet, most cases very sad. But we always keep our spirit. we never give up our hope. So result, the things eventually changing. Due to tragedy, if lost hope and completely discouraged oneself and remain, as a pessimistic attitude, then we never gain happier days. So therefore, my own experience, no matter how difficult it is and tragic sort of situation, we should not lose our hope and our determination. Now, particularly those, I think several hundred thousands now who lost not only their home, but also their friends, their entire sort of, looks like their entire future lost. I want to share, I want to tell these people, still we are on this planet. When we left, when we escaped from our own country, everything lost. But because we are in human, the human world, there are plenty of human beings who ready to share your problems, your suffering, ready to help. So now today, for example, the recent, what do you call the tsunami sort of tragedy, disaster in Indonesia, that area. I think response from the rest of the world, I think immense, really remarkable. So similarly now here, I think from many parts of the world, is coming to help you. So you are not lonely. You have a lot of friends. You lost some of your close friends, but still you find a lot of new friends. So with help from these friends, including concerned sort of government, state level or the federal level, combine all these help, your future, there is almost like guarantee. Now important is you should not lose your hope. And self-respect should not lose your, self-confidence. And you can rebuild your home and your community. Hopefully, more safer place. I really feel now, global level, now with world becoming warming. So I think this kind of nature disaster, I think will come more often. Of course, I have no direct responsibility, except I made some donation out of my book's royalty, book royalties. I made a donation, $100,000 to the relief, I think headed by the former President Bush Sr., as well as the President Clinton. So except that, I can do nothing, except my prayer. So, but hopefully more safer place, like I think hinterland, I think here you will never sort of face these kind of sort of hurricane sort of danger. I think my own home, Tibet, I think never faced this kind of problems. And my temporary home in India, in Kangra or Himachal, also quite safe from that viewpoint. But you see, my place is also on the belt of earth, because earthquake. So we constantly remain with fear. Oh, tonight, Dhamma may come, may happen. So as a practitioner of impermanence, it is useful to remind impermanence. So, I want to appeal or to share directly to those thousands of people who really lost their home. Please, keep determination, hope, and your future will be brighter. So that's the, and then another thing. I think as a human being, human nature, there's such sort of unexpected tragedy happen, then some kind of trauma, I think may occur, may remain. So now here, as I mentioned before, you see, if something happens, some sort of unfortunate things happen, then think whether there is way to overcome that. Then no need too much worry. If there is no way to overcome, then no use too much worry. So therefore, now these things happen. Now too much worry, too much sort of traumatic sort of attitude, I think suffer yourself. And also will be, I think, greatest hindrance of your own long future. And then also some people may have anger. Then, according to my own experience, in such case, I think very useful is it to look these events from wider perspective. All these events, you see, they're due to its own causes and conditions. And causes and conditions also, now today's causes and conditions happen because of yesterday's causes and condition. Yesterday's causes and conditions happen because of previous month, because of the previous life, previous years. Go like that. There's certain nature disaster, nature sort of pattern today we are facing happen because of the 20th century sort of changing of the weather, and that due to 19th century sort of change. So therefore, once we look all these chain reaction, law of causality, and also the interdependency, then anger, difficult to find target, independent target. Usually, you see, among the sort of limit, so many different factors, we pick up just one factor and then blame everything on it. And anger, then does it develop. If you look same event from a wider perspective, then our emotion, such as anger, difficult. Which target? Which is real target? Clear. So therefore, when our mind too much, irritation, too much sort of agitation, then useful to look from wider perspective. That also one way help to calm our mind. And also become more realistic. Even if some scientist once he told me, when strong anger develops, then you can't see the reality. Because much negative things actually created by our own mind. So much sort of mental projection. So they say, when our anger fully develops, then the negativeness about the object is actually 90% exaggerated. I think that's very true. Now, my own case is sometimes I lose my temper. So I use some harsh word. But then anger diminish. my mind become normal, then I really feel very shy to meet that person. Very, 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 very embarrassed. So that means, you see, my normal mind do not want to use these harsh words. But because anger, when my anger dominates my mind, then I cannot sort of judge. I cannot sort of judge which is wrong, which is right, what is short-term, long-term consequences. So almost become, I think, half become like mad. So then all sorts of words or sort of bad attitude like that, if necessary like that. So these are unrealistic because you cannot see the reality and much sort of exaggerated. So therefore, I think one of the most destructive part of negative emotion is the hindrance of the seeing the reality. So calm mind, try to build calm mind through various sort of methods. That's, I think, important. Then also to those people who have some belief, then think about Creator. So this tragedy, from our own experience, of course, these are something undesirable or something unjust. But from the viewpoint of the Creator, of course, almighty, all-powerful, all-merciful, well, there must be some meaning. Think, you see, these lines, then your agitated mind may little cool down. So that I want to share those remaining people who lost everything and their mental level, some kind of very traumatic sort of situation. Then third point, I want to mention, especially like the September 11th tragedy, man-made sort of tragedy. I think like that, I think we, humanity, I think passing through quite a number of, man-made problems we are facing. But still, I want to make clear, as my friend just mentioned, I believe the 20th century is, I think, whole human history, I think most important century. I think that century, I feel, almost I think turned, I think human history, I feel. The reason, if you make study, comparison, the early part of 20th century and later part of 20th century, I think a big change in many fields. So this change took place because I think humanity, through extreme sort of difficulties, painful experiences, humanity becoming more mature. So I'm not going to detail sort of explanation, but if now I think I may share with you one my experience or meeting. I think in 1996, I had a meeting with the late Queen Mother of England. So at that time, her own age, 96-year-old. So she observed almost whole 20th century. So I asked her, according you, the world becoming better or worse? without hesitation, she told me, world is better, becoming better. Reason, when she was young, in England, there's not much sort of talk about human rights and right of self-determination and so on. Nowadays, these become universal, universal right or universally accepted now, these things. So she mentioned like that. I think this is very true. And also, I think the peace movement. I often mention people, the First World War, Second World War, when nation declare war on other nation, I think all the citizens, without the slightest sort of questions, proudly, happily joined war effort. Now, since Vietnam War, no longer that kind of situation. When leaders, nations declare war, the citizens then put question, why? It's necessary? That kind of attitude. Now recently, I think very recently, the Iraqi crisis about to happen. The millions of people from Australia up to America, express their, the opposition or to violence. I think these are really clear sign. Now worldwide, people really, I think, fed up about violence. And also in early period of 20th century, there's certain ideas, certain systems under sort of dictatorship, society can change, society can move. I think within the same century, I think people realize that's impossible. Individual initiative is highly necessary. For that, individual freedom is very important. So these totalitarian regimes within themselves now changed. So as it is with the disappearance of Berlin Wall, I think many things has changed. The People's Republic of China still remain as a totalitarian regime. With that, North Korea and Vietnam. But if you look closely, the People's Republic of China, also within the last few decades, I think a lot of change took place. And still, I think the People's Republic of China is in the process of changing. So these are very positive signs. So therefore, there is no reason to feel the pessimism. I think we should keep our hope and look forward to the first century, rest of the 21st century. I think we should look full of spirit and determination and with clear sort of vision. One, I want to say, I think 20th century, whether we like it or not, it become century of violence. Now this century, 21st century, should be century of dialogue. I think. Then perhaps, according my friends' the vision, I think in some extent, I think 20th century, century of hatred. Now this century should be century of compassion, led by these people who already, promised. So, then I think within the compassionate sort of attitude, I think environment issue, very important. Then also the issue, rich and poor, the gap, rich and poor, not only global level, but also the national level. There is gap, particularly in this country, the richest, most powerful nation. One time in Washington, I expressed the capital of the most richest sort of nation and most powerful nation, but in Washington itself, and suburbs or pockets in Washington, there are poor people. Some are very poor. The conditions very, very poor. So this gap, global level as well as national level, I think this gap is not only morally wrong, but also practically source of trouble. So we must reduce. We must reduce this gap. So now recently, I find among the richer family, or among the richer sort of community, and including some business people, I think now talking more about spiritual value and morality, ethics. So actually, I'm writing one book with help of one economist or advisor for many corporations. So of course, at the beginning, I have no sort of courage to write because I'm full ignorance in the business world. But that my friend, you see, eventually give me every encouragement. So now, mainly, you see, he carried the main work, and I made some contribution, but I got the name. So I think that book may appear now next year or 1 year or two. So I'm looking forward more royalty. So I also see learning how to make money. So I will seek advice from you. Right, anyway, of course. So now you see people in that circle now really showing the deeper value. And that also I think encouraging sign. So now I think important is we must promote deeper human value. Deeper human value means, I think from our birth, affection is there. And affection is necessary for our own survival. Look, those animals or birds, which their entire survival depend on mother's care, the affection there. Sometimes I doubt, like turtle, some kind of turtle. You see, mother lay down the egg, then left. Their offsprings and the mother, I think, never meet. So the children themselves, you see, survive on their own. I think such case, I don't think the ability to show affection one another. Because the nature creates such way, no need others' care. Then our own case. Now, I think obviously, we survived with mother's milk. If mother or someone else, you see, they abandon, we will die. We never survive. So that's the reality. That's fact. That's nature. So therefore, and then secondly, we are social animal. Our future depends on the community, on the group of the people. So the compassion actually bringing together. Although our attachment also have sort of similar sort of role. Attachment bring together. Anger, hatred, expel all the obstacle. Attachment brings all the favorable things, friends, possessions, or everything. But as I mentioned earlier, attachment and anger, these very much involved with ignorance. So the action which motivated by these afflicted emotion is actually unrealistic. Other hand, compassion brings all the favorable things without ignorance sort of, involvement. Compassion develop with effort. Strong compassion actually becomes something like emotion. But that emotion comes through effort, with reasons, with conviction. Attachment comes spontaneously. So there is very close link with ignorance. So the similar action, even you see, I think more effective sort of result can carry by compassion. And also, deep down with compassion, if the situation needs some kind of expel, strong response, out of compassion, out of awareness, without losing respect other, but necessity sort of response can take place. So therefore, I think a training of our mind, I'm not talking about religion, irrespective of whether believer or non-believer, I think training of mind is something very useful in our life, in our future, in our society, humanity. So these training through education, not through religious instruction, not through prayer, not through meditation, but we call analytical meditation, analyze. And also some modern, medical scientists also now begin to realize our mental state is very crucial factor for our health. So all these bases, analyze, and we can develop certain deeper awareness. Through awareness, through conviction, we can transform our emotions. So that I want to share with you. So try to analyze the reality, and through that way, develop certain conviction, our inner value. That conviction brings more effort. Through more effort, time passes, you can change. So first, change ourselves, then share with others. So, since you show genuine interest about compassion, so I want to tell the method how to change our heart, our emotion. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I see. Some questions. Very good. Yes, some questions now.
First question. In America,
Do, 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 do that.
is it on? Is this on? I think it's on.
Yes.
In America, a lot of people focus on work. Both husband and wife work. How can we focus more on family values?
I don't know. I think you have more experience. You have to find some kind of that.
Balance. Balance.
Oh, some balance. And I think I think here family value, I think particularly to children, I think children should have more time with their parent, particularly with mother. I think very, very important, very important. So children should not left without sort of affection. I think that's very harmful. Sometimes I do feel, say, today, say, I always sort of, what say, practice, or I have keen interest about compassion. When I think, when I first learned about the value of compassion, I think from my mother, not my guru, not my teacher, but from my mother. My mother, very kind-hearted. I never saw, you see, my mother sort of, the period of lost temper. I never saw. Very gentle, very kind-hearted, very compassionate. Of course, as the peasantry mother, no education, but a very kind mother. My father, not like that. Very, very short temper. I also got, I think, a few occasions beating from him.
Why has most of the conflict throughout history of the world happened in the name of religion? Especially if all religions share the same core values of peace and love. What can we do to change this?
I think firstly, you see, due to some mischievous sort of people from certain religious follower, if we generalize whole that religion, I think that's a mistake. Of course, mischievous sort of people everywhere, among the Buddhists, among the Hindus, among the Muslim, among the Christian, among the Jews, everywhere. So, due to a few handfuls of people's misbehavior, if we blame the whole religion, the whole tradition, I think that's absolutely wrong. I think 1 year after, you see, September 11th event, I was in Washington. So in Washington, I think the National Cathedral, I mentioned there, sometimes in the West, you see, media people or sometimes even books, you see, they create some kind of impression, the clash between Western civilization and Muslim. I think that's wrong. And also, you see, due to some of these terrorists, you see, come from Muslim community, so then blame everything on the Muslim as a whole. I think that's wrong. I have some Muslim friends, very gentle, very compassionate. I think one example, in Lhasa, when I was there, since my childhood, there are some Muslims, about few thousand Muslims there. mainly come from India. These Muslims, very gentle, no record of quarrel by these Muslims, very gentle. And also some of my Muslim friends, told me that according Quran, the person who creates bloodshed or who creates suffering on other is actually not true Muslim. So therefore, it is wrong to blame due to some reasons. The whole tradition. This is wrong. Then second, I think here the important is you lose the way. Now here, and there are the fundamentalists or fanatic sort of people there. So I think the countermeasure for that, I feel, is two points. One, any person who believes one's own religion, then look one's own religion seriously and sincerely. That means should carry implementation. What teaching? Now here, I think very clear. In spite different sort of, also the philosophy. I think, frankly speaking, now you see the theistic religions. You see, they are. I think the most important part of their faith is Creator, God, Creator. The non-theistic, you see, more emphasis on individual, rather than you see central some kind of a figure. So differences, big differences. So some theistic sort of religious people consider the non-theistic is not religion, atheist. So there's big differences. But the aspect of practice is concerned. Now, all tradition talks about love, compassion, forgiveness, self-discipline, and contentment, and brotherhood, sisterhood. All tradition talks these things. And we can see, we observed where, we noticed, there are such a wonderful person among the Muslim, among the Christian, among the Jews, among the Hindus. Yes, there are so many, wonderful people there. I think one example, one occasion in Spain, what called? Montserrat, one ancient sort of temple there. Monastery. Ancient monastery. Ancient monastery. When I was there, one Spanish Catholic monk, I think shorter than me. Of course, a lot of beard. Beard. I think I can exchange from his beard, put some here. So he came to see me. Then I was told some of the people, some of the monks told me, some of the people who arranged my visit told me that monk spent 5 years in the mountain without hot meal. So then I asked him, those 5 years, what you are doing on the mountain? And he told me, meditate on love. Oh, wonderful. When he answered that, in his eyes, there's clear sign of a certain kind of inner peace or loving kindness. So one factor, his English worse than my English. So I have more proud to talk with him through my own broken English. So that time, and then also my meeting with late Thomas Merton. Trappist monk. Through personal contact, I developed the genuine admiration and appreciation about the Christian traditions. So like that. So firstly, I think once we accept religion, we must sincere and serious and try to practice day-to-day life. The religion then become part of our life. This is number one. Through one's own sort of deeper experience, that person can see the value of other tradition. Number one. Number two, personal contact. Here, one Muslim friend here, you see, I noticed the Muslim in India, Muslim in Malaysia, Muslim in Indonesia, and Muslim in Arab. I noticed some differences. But actually all these is a follower of Quran, Allah. Yet, because of the circumstances, different circumstances, you see, their attitude, I found little differences. For example, the Muslim in India, through centuries, they have, they lived among different sort of follower, right? Follower of different traditions. Muslim in India, you see, Hindus, their next neighbor, Hindus or Jains, or Christians, like that. So you see, in their mind from childhood, they take for granted there are different traditions. Whereas the Muslim in Arab countries, bit isolated. So therefore, in their eye, the other religion, a little bit strange. So now modern time, I think through through tourism and also economic reasons, and then also now they quite often interfaith sort of meetings now taking place in many places. Now increasing these sort of contact, I think very helpful to develop the pluralism in the spiritual field. Here I have, you see, four steps. Number one, meeting with scholars from different traditions. Then discuss what similarities, what differences in academic level. Then number two, the practitioners meeting with practitioner, exchange their personal, deeper experiences. As I mentioned earlier, you see, my meeting with these great practitioners of Christian monks are really helpful to understand the value of Christianity. And also, as I mentioned earlier, some of my Muslim friends, as a personal contact really gives me deeper understanding about the Muslim values. That's number two. Number three, group pilgrimage to different holy places. I think around mid-70, I started this practice from India. So since then, whenever I visit a different place, I always, if time permits, I always go to the different holy sites. With this spirit, I visited, I think 3 times, Jerusalem, mainly. So 2 times I visited as a pilgrimage with a group of people. So if possible, silent meditation. If not, if possible, pray together. If not, silent meditation. So that's really very, very powerful sort of feeling, experience. Me personal sort of experience, when I visited different places of the mainly Christian in Europe, like Lohoth in France, and also the Kasa, Fatima in Portugal. You see, in these places, I get some kind of different sort of experiences. So that number three, number four, like Assisi meeting, the leader of different tradition come together and speak same language, peace, from same platform. I think great significance to in the eyes of millions of people of different traditions. So these four, I think, useful to promote religious harmony.
In a world of such hatred and judgment, will one day discussing compassion really make a difference?
Kasa.
In a world of such hatred and judgment, will one day discussing compassion really make a difference?
Human society, human community means combination of individuals. If we really want change the community, I think first change one individual. Initiative must start from here. The regulations, laws, I think US Supreme Court or both houses or White House, you see, cannot change whole society. But society change possible through individual change. So therefore, I think here is a few thousand individuals. If we really committed, not just not just like that, but something really committed, then at least each of you, each of your family, there are 2 person, 3 person, 4 person, 5 persons. Then each of them, again, they are friends, another 10, 20, 30, like that. And also in modern time, the media people. So, like,
So just as when you see ripples increasing when you throw a stone into a pond, in the same manner we can spread compassion.
So I think, you see, we should, sometimes I also feel, there's a lot of problems. Then me as a one tiny individual, how can that
What difference?
make differences? Then again, I feel, yes, in any case, it is my share of responsibility. Make some contribution. So similarly, each of you, we are same human being. We have same potential. Make small contribution. It makes differences. So in any way, these are not easy, but there's no other alternative. So worthwhile, make an attempt. Next.
Last question.
Yes, last question.
The most important advice regarding a happy and healthy life.
Kasa.
What is your most important advice regarding a happy and healthy life?
Oh, like this water. Very good. More water, healthier. I think Sleep also very, very important. I love sleep. There are 2 days back, I come from New Delhi. Long flight from Delhi to Osaka, about 8 hours flight. And Osaka, 1 hour stop. Then from Osaka to Alaska, another, I think, 7 hours. Very long flight. So when I reached the
Anchorage.
what called?
Anchorage.
Anchorage, yeah. All my energy lost. Completely exhausted. So then that night, 10 hours sleep. Oh, next morning, very fresh. So that's my secret. Combine peace of mind. So I think these two, I think important. Then sometimes I think a few weeks ago, I was in Germany, in Berlin. The hotel where I spent is a few days. One day, about 8 o'clock, I about to sleep. The next, the other side of the hotel, you see, one, I think the hall and different lights, blue or red or yellow, and then turning like that. Then I hear zhang sheng, zhang sheng, zhang sheng, zhang sheng, like that. The next morning, about 4 o'clock or 3:30, I ready to get up. They still going zhang sheng, like that. Whole night spent like that. I think that is too extreme. I prefer sound sleep rather than zhang sheng, like that. Of course, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, okay. But the whole night, I think too much. So I think our sort of routine, food habit, on time, and sleep, I think go more routine. I think that also important, isn't it? But please ask your doctor, not me. Thank you.
Rashin denze jebo jonze chuni jenze rashi mada barwe veje maha pami no ma mavja jimbo mi bam gem redre mada wese jema de rugu zizu ledre magi samde trumde ta yan kila rewa ji zima Om Dari Tu Re Soha 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 Om Tare re soha Om Tare re soha Om Tare re soha